So on today's adventure, we're going to see if we can do anything with those. Heavy imprints on the back of a 23-24 Prizm. It's a sharp card. I like the photograph. The green with the Celtics looks sweet. I like Jaylen Brown a lot. But most important, I want to see if I can offer you guys any advice or remedies when it comes to this. So I don't have... The only thing I could think of is soak a card like this and hope that the card spray will go in, push up these dents, and then we'll start our drying process and get it back to looking good. But you just got to go for it. You know, there's nothing else I could do. So what we're going to do is bring in a little bit of card spray. So if you haven't seen anything like this before, you guys, this is just my solution that I'm putting here. And I'm just going to put the card down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in. And I've had success with Prizms from other years, but I haven't done a 23-24. What I'm going to do is sit here right over it, and I'm going to watch it. I got to watch the moisture come in the card and go all the way to the center. So I'm going to put this in here, and then I'm going to put on a time-lapse video because I want you to see what I see. But I'm not going to make you sit here and watch it for 20 minutes. It should only take 20 minutes. And I want it to soak all the way in and puff up the back and hopefully push these dents out. And then we'll start the drying process, and I'll walk you through that too, okay? So let's start with just going for it and getting it in card spray. And I like to hold it down a little bit like this because if you can even see, I'll give you a little bit better view. You'll see that, you know, there's air inside the cards. That's where all the little bubbles are coming out. So I need to displace the air with the card spray. And I know it's only been like 30 seconds, but so far so good. The card is staying down under the solution, and I'm already seeing it start to come in through the edges. So what I want to do is set us up here on an angle where we can see the actual indents and then also the moisture ring come in and push them out. So let me get this set up here for you guys, and we'll do a time lapse, and I'll get a good view and we can watch this all come out. All right, step one, we got the card totally soaked in the back. As you guys watched on the time lapse, it crept all the way in, all the way to the center. So now what we want to do is get it out of the card spray. And if you guys do this with a modern card, save your card spray because it's not dirty. We just used it basically like, kind of like hydraulic fluid to lift up a dent. So it is not dirty, so save it. So let's see how we did so far. Well, let's move this out of here and we'll make a little bit more room. So what I want to do is let's just wipe off the remaining card spray and we'll check out the area that we are trying to work on here, which we had these two huge dents, right? And from this angle, I can't even tell yet, so we'll find out together. 1 second. All right, good so far. Check this out, watch the light. Pretty much lifted up those dents. I can still see a little bit, see it remaining right there? However, I think that through the drying process, we should be able to smooth that out. I think that it will go back to the right place, all right? So I'm not even gonna fuss with this right now, okay? So if you end up with and I don't even know, guys, if it's gonna go all the way away, but in there a little bit, but now let's start the drying process. And we'll just, we'll find out together, all right? So I wanna get the front of the card as dry as possible too. Now, while I'm doing this, I'll just walk you through how you dry this. It takes a few days. It's not hard. It just, you gotta be around. You gotta pay attention. Because you see how the card is already starting to kind of like, from the moisture. Prizm cards are solid, but you see how it has kind of a curvature to it? You gotta get the card to dry, and you can't let it curl up on you. So that's the key. So what we're gonna do is bring in some drying pads here. And I'm gonna keep this in here between these two pads for probably an hour. And that's gonna help get some of the spray to come out of the outer edges, because when you do this, it's not like drying a paper card where it dries off the surface. The surface doesn't let it dry at all. It's gotta come out all four edges, you know? So that takes a minute, but resist the urge to want to like squeegee them or push them. I tried all that before and it just makes the card split in half, okay? So don't bother, just take your time with it. You already put this much time into it, so do it like that. And then I'm just gonna grab two of my plates here and we're gonna hold it. So what the process is, usually day 1 through day 4, it usually takes to get these to dry. I'm gonna keep these between the plates, for a couple hours, like I said, and then I'm gonna take it out and let it sit on my desk for a couple hours. Then back to the plates, then to the desk, and then when it's overnight, I'll keep it clapped overnight, and then I will put it back in the open. So you're gonna get that tension of holding it between the pads, then letting it get air and dry. Holding it between the pads, letting it get air and dry. And you do that right, it's gonna stay flat. Then when it comes to, you know you're done, when it gets to like, usually day 4-ish on these, or even sometimes day 3, you know, if you can stay right on it, what you'll do is you're gonna wait to feel the back, where the back it's not cool to the touch anymore, and it doesn't feel, it'll just feel like a normal Prizm card. That's when you transfer it to a penny sleeve and a top loader and let it sit, because it's gonna be very, very close to being totally dry, but there's still gonna be some sneaky moisture in there. So you just don't wanna take it out and just like let it sit on your desk and get a crescent in it. So as soon as it feels dry to the touch, probably 3-4 days in of doing this diligently, transfer it over, let it rest for a while in here, or just let it stay in here. Or if you want to grade a card, keep it in here for at least a week. Just let it, don't rush it. Take your time on things like this, because it's a big injury and it needs some time to rehab. So I will continue this drying process, and I look forward to showing you the befores and afters and see how we do on a 23-24 Prizm. So let's get to the wrap up here on the 23-24 Prizm. It took a full soak, no problem, took about 20 minutes, and then it took me about 4.5 days to get it dry, going back and forth between the pads and the open air, and the pads and the open air, and then finally, it gets to the point where it's no longer cool to the touch and it feels good. So the front, of course, we didn't have any problems there, but if you have big dents on the back of a 23-24 Prizm, I can say that there's a good chance you can improve them nicely. So let's watch the light go all the way across the card. So cool, man. I never get tired of that. That is so rad. And they usually come in decent shape, but I mean, if you ever get imprints from your fingernails, or you mess up or whatever, or something just happens to them, that will work on the back. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on the front. The front is very heavy plastic, but if you got dings on the back and you got a few days to work on it, you can do it. I'm Kurt with Kurt's Card Care.